Who would win and lose the biggest matchups of week one? We predict all the biggest matchups in week one. Up next on the GM. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy Boulanger. Up next, we predict all the biggest matchups of week one. Do me a quick favor as we get started. Hit like. If it is your first time checking out the GM, hit subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's go. So, week one is already underway. And as you guys know, we predicted that the Detroit Lions would win in Kansas City on Thursday Night Football. And that is exactly what happened. Now, where the GM was wrong was the final score. It was my understanding or my thought that these two offenses would come out and light it up early and somebody would pull out a win late. And these two offenses seemingly kind of sputtered out of the starting gates, so to speak. Um, and the Detroit Lions pulled it out late. But the manner in which the Detroit Lions won is the exact way we predicted. The GM predicted that the Detroit Lions would play hard defense. Uh, we predicted that the Detroit Lions would have to rush for over 100 yards. We predicted that the Detroit Lions would have to take some deep shots, which was kind of interesting to me that when Jared Goff would throw the ball downfield 20 yards or more, they would make big plays. But a lot of their passing kind of came off as short and intermediate and screens. And so I don't know why they didn't do that earlier. But when they needed to, they made the big plays downfield. The running game got involved, and they were able to edge out a win. And then that Detroit Lions defense stood up. They have a lot of young athletes on that defensive side of the ball, and they showed up well last night. And so I think that it was a really good game. But just like you see in the thumbnail, Patrick Mahomes, when that game was over, I bet he was calling Lamar Jackson, texting him or hitting him on Twitter. Hey, man, how did you do it with no receivers? Meaning, how was he so successful? We know that Patrick Mahomes is a killer on the offensive end of the field, but Patrick Mahomes has had the luxury of having elite level weapons, Tyreek Hill up until last year, and then also Travis Kelsey, who is kind of like the coverall, the cure all for all the ails the Kansas City Chiefs offense. And without, of course, Tyreek Hill being removed for a year, but without Kelsey last night, that Chiefs wide receiver corpse did not perform very well. A lot of drops, seemed to have some missed assignments, seemed to be maybe even a lack of confidence after things didn't go well for that wide receiving group. And so Patrick Mahomes was able to have a front row seat to what Lamar Jackson had been exposed to for the last 4 years of his career. And so I bet Mahomes texted him or, or called him last night and said, Yo, why you didn't tell me it was like this, man? Not to have um, guys who are going to come through for you, not to have wide receivers who are going to hold up when the battle's on. So, so that's what we saw last night with Detroit getting that win, which is definitely something we predicted here at the GM. So let's get into the other five matchups that we identified as the biggest games of the week. Let's start with the interdivision contest between the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe the Cleveland Browns win this game um, in a mid 20 kind of score, maybe 27, 24, um, 24, 21 um, outcome. I think the Cleveland Browns win this game because I think their pass rush is going to be much improved. And the one thing you do to a quarterback to kind of minimize offensive potency is to get him on the ground or to make him uncomfortable. And with Miles Garrett and Zadarius Smith, both beating down on Joe Burrow with a retooled line, a new left tackle, and also with Joe Burrow recovering from a calf injury. I think that Cleveland will be able to do some good things up front and be able to keep the Cincinnati Bengals off schedule offensively. That doesn't mean that the Bengals won't make plays. It doesn't mean that Jamar Chase won't do Jamar Chase stuff. It doesn't mean that T. Higgins won't do T. Higgins kind of stuff. But I think the Cleveland Browns have enough up front to make Joe Burrow uncomfortable. While at the same time, I think that the Cleveland Browns offense will keep the Cincinnati offense off the field. What I mean is, I think they'll get downhill in the run game with Nick Chubb, making life for Deshaun Watson easier. Because when you can establish the run, the quarterback can develop a comfort in the pocket, and so I see that happening in this game. Cleveland walking away with that win. Next big matchup is the 49ers versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the 49ers and Pittsburgh are going to be evenly matched. They both are going to have some quarterbacks or two quarterbacks that have something to prove in their second year. If they're going with Brock Purdy, the 49ers, or if they go with the veteran Sam Darnold, I don't know which one who's going to start. But I think defensively, they have a lot of talent. And so I think that this will be a battle of who can establish the run game the most effectively. I think that both defenses will play good ball, but I think the 49ers come away with this win, probably something like 24-21, something like that. I think the 49ers come away with that win in Pittsburgh. I don't think it really matters that much that it is a West Coast team coming to the East Coast in this game, since this is the very first game of the season. San Francisco will have had an opportunity to get to the East Coast and practice for a couple of days before this game even kicks off. So I think San Francisco walks away with that win, 24-21, something like that. Um, Another big matchup in the week one is going to be the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Jets. Now, this is a game that I think is a little more difficult for me to predict, but I'm gonna go with the Jets only because the Jets have a lot of buzz around them this season with the addition of Aaron Rodgers, which is a significant upgrade at the quarterback position. They have a host of wide receivers. They have a couple of backs who can do some things. So I think the Jets offensively will be very, very effective, and they have a really nice defense that can hold up against that Buffalo Bills uh, high-powered offense. So I think the Jets come away with the win. Um, Again, I think this is probably like a 27-21 type game. Jets pulling out the win, probably with a fourth quarter touchdown led by Aaron Rodgers. Um, so that's my take on that game. Now, the last game we're going to predict is the Miami Dolphins versus the Los Angeles Chargers. I believe the Miami Dolphins pull out this game in a high scoring affair. I believe this game will be in the high 20s, low 30s, with Miami getting the edge at the very end. I believe the Miami Dolphins pull out this win simply because I believe they're going to outscore the Chargers. The Miami Dolphins have probably the fastest collection of wide receiving talent. They have solid running backs, and they have an improving offensive line, which should allow Tua Tagovailoa time in the pocket to read and make the proper throw. I think that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle both go over 100 yards, and I think the Miami Dolphins get out of this game with a win also because the Miami Dolphins have an improved defense. They added a really solid linebacker, a good tackler. I can't remember his name at this point. And they also added Jalen Ramsey, still a top 10 corner in this league, who can certainly offset a Mike Williams or a Keenan Allen. Um, they won't shut down the Chargers by no means. The Chargers have too much talent, and I think their running back Ackler has a really good game. He probably has 100 plus yards from scrimmage. I think Justin Herbert goes over 300 yards, but I think because the Miami Dolphins maybe have the better of the defense or defenses, excuse me, I think they pull out this win. I'm going to predict 31-28, something like that. Miami gets the win. Let me know, guys, what you guys think about the predictions. If you got a different score in mind, a different winner in mind, by all means, drop that in the comment section. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and we're out.